Good afternoon to one and all. So today we will discuss about characteristics, uses, and limitations of statistics in economics. Uh, yeah. Today we will briefly discuss about characteristics as well as the uses and limitations of statistics in our economics. Generally, we know that what are the uses of statistics in our economics. Basically, most of the students will think that what is the need of statistics in our economics subject. So we will briefly discuss before uses and limitation. We need to understand what are the characteristics of statistics in our economics. So here we'll go with that. Is it visible now? Hello, dear students, is it visible? No.
No, sir, no.
Just a minute. Now. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. First, we need to discuss about what are the characteristics of statistics in our economics. Mainly, the first point of first characteristics of statistics is aggregate the facts. For example, last few days back, we have been discussing about the sample and population and the collection of the data. When we are collecting the data, so whatever we collect in the information, so we will put in the form of tables or presentation or tables in the graph. So that should be the aggregate facts. Whatever the facts are there, we will collect that information and we will put in the different forms. There is a graph or tables. That is called aggregate facts. The first characteristics of statistics in our economy are aggregate facts. What are the facts are there? We will collect that information and we will show in the different forms. And next one, numerically expressed. So whatever we collect some information, we will express that values in numerically, or we can say that numerically expressed. Whatever we collect some information, that should be numerically we can express. I think, but last day we have discussed about that data, primary data, or some frequency tables also. See, so for example, how many students are like red color or blue color or any other green color, for example, that we can show that 20 students are their favorite color is black or red or green. That 20 is nothing but numerical value. So numerically we can express that values in statistics. So that is the second characteristics of statistics in our economics. Then third one, collected in systematic manner. For example, whatever we collect some information, so that information should be gathered in a systematic manner. So that is a major characteristics in statistics in our economics. And the fourth characteristics of statistics, the collected for a predetermined purpose. Before collecting information, we have been predetermined purpose. For example, what purpose we are collecting that information, before we determine only, after that we will collect some information. For example, so my predetermined purpose nothing but I would like to know that how many students are getting a benefit by attending the online classes. That is my objective, is nothing but to know that how many students are benefiting by attending the online classes. That is my predetermined purpose. So after that, those who are attending the classes, simple, I will gather some information from the online class students, those who are attending the online classes. That is collected for predetermined purpose. Then fifth one, enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standard of accuracy. For example, when we are doing some research and estimate the values, that should be according to the reasonable standard of accuracy. When you are doing some research, that should be accurate. So here, when we are doing some research, for example, if you take into account nowadays, most of this pandemic situation, most of the research institutes, the chemical institutes, basically we can say that they are doing some research on coronavirus. Nothing but they are going to find out a solution to the coronavirus. So on the basis of standards of accuracy, nothing but they will do some test. So first trial, second trial, third trials. So that is called a standard of accuracy. This should be known. This should be get also. So when we're doing the social science research also, so we need to do a research that should be enumerated or estimated according to the reasonable standard of accuracy. So we need to maintain accuracy in research. And the last characteristics of statistics in our economics place in relation to each other. For example, when we are getting some results, what is the relation between one variable to another variable, one variable to the another variable? See, for example, if you take into account, if I say that after conducting a research on those who are attending the online classes, for example, those who are attending the classes, online classes, after conducting the examination. So shall I compare that? Those who are attending the online classes, those who are not attending the online classes, who will secure highest marks? Is there any difference between that? Those who are attending the online classes, those who are not attending the online classes. That is called place relation to each other. For example, within the class also, we can associate or we can look at the is there any relationship between the variables, different aspects also. So that is called place in relation to each other. For example, not only in our subject, so there are different aspects also. For example, we can see that nowadays, if you take into account coronavirus, place in relation to each other. For example, whatever the vaccine has come up in China, that should not able to work in India because there is a human body is not acceptable or the vaccine cannot exhaust in our Indian human bodies. For example, the health condition is not same in India as well as China. That is one of the reason also sometimes. For example, if you take into account, that's why if you take into account medicine also, the children's medicines are different from old age people medicines. So that is a different aspects in research also we can do it. So not only these 6 characteristics, there are other characteristics also there of statistics in our economics, but these are the major characteristics of statistics in our economics. Yeah, second one, uses of statistics in our economics. So this is a very important question. In some of the examination, they will ask that what are the uses of statistics in our economics. So here, if you uses of statistics in our economics. First one, measurement of GDP. So when we are calculating the GDP, what is meant by GDP? Gross domestic product. So here, when we are estimating the GDP, so we need some statistical methods. For example, within the GDP, so there are other components that is called consumption, government expenditure, or exports, imports, okay, receipts from foreign, payments to the foreign. So these are the values which we can take into consider to measure the GDP. So when we are measuring the GDP, we need some statistics to measure the GDP. Not only GDP, there are some other aspects also there. So we can easily, in order to measure the GDP also, we can use the statistics in our economics. Then second use, there is a consumer and public finance. Yeah, so here, for example, if you take into account in our economics, the government, there is a public finance. Whatever the government do or not to do, that is called public finance. Whatever the government can spend some amount of money to the public welfare or other aspects also. I think the disturbance is coming from.
डुप्लीकेट होगा.
Durga sir.
Yeah. Okay. So here in the public finance also, so the statistics which will help more in our economics. And the next one, third use is the population growth rate. For example, in order to estimate the growth rates, we can use some statistics. So the population growth rate, for example, if you take so 2001 to 2011. So as per census, how much the population growth has been occurred. So by using some statistical techniques only, we can estimate the population growth rate in our economics. So at the same time, in order to estimate the poverty and unemployment. For example, so how much the poverty in our India, not only in our India, in our Telangana state or Andhra or some other states. So how much the poverty in particular state. So we can estimate by using the statistics and unemployment also. For example, the unemployment is a burning issues in our India majorly now. So how much unemployment exists in our India? At the same time, the urban unemployment and rural unemployment. So in order to estimate that, so they can use some statistics in our economics. And inflation, deflation, stagflation. So when you study the inflation and deflation, stagflation in our economics, so here how much the price of the commodity has been increases particular period, nothing but from 1 year to another year or last 1 year to present. So how much the price of the commodity has been increases weekly also, monthly also, quarterly or half yearly or yearly. For example, if you take the vegetable prices, for example, if the vegetable prices is high compared with the last year or last month also, so that is called inflation. How much the price has been increases for a particular period of time. Here, in order to study or in order to measure the inflation, we can use some statistics in our economics. Not only inflation, for the deflation or stagflation also, we can use some statistics in economics. And the sixth use business cycle. So I think you have been studied the business cycle in intermediate level as well as degree first year level, maybe in macroeconomics. So when you are studying that business cycle, so there is a prosperity, recession. So during the recession, what was happened? What is the causes to recession of Indian economy? So at the peak level, what is the cause? What are the causes to increase our economy? So that are the points which when calculated by using some statistics. So in order to study the business cycle also, we can use some statistics in our economics. And second, last one, there is the economic planning. Economic planning. So, so planning is nothing but we can estimate a future thing or future values. For example, so without plan, we cannot sustain our or we cannot achieve a target. For example, some of the things. So in order to achieve a target, so we can prepare some plans. So as per that Indian economy, in order to reach out their economy or top, in order to maintain the top rate in our world, so the government of India also can prepare some plans. So as per plans, so they can allocate the funds first. So on the basis of funds only, so they will reach their targets or they will try to reach the targets. So here, in order to prepare some planning also, we can use some statistics. Nothing but last time we discussed about that. So if the price of the commodity has been increases from 2 to 3 rupees, how much the demand falls down? Or if the price of the commodities decreases from 2 rupees to 1 rupee, how much demand will be goes up? So that is a planning. For example, so there are some planners or policymakers who will think about the plannings, and mainly they will give some suggestions to the Indian economy or to the government of India or some governments. So that is the thing. That is the thing that statistics plays a very important role in our economics, mainly these aspects, that is a measurement of GDP, consumers and public finance, and a population growth rate, poverty and unemployment, inflation, deflation and stagflation, and sixth one business cycle, and the last one economic planning. Is it clear now? What are the what are the uses of statistics in our economics? Is it clear now, dear students?
Yes, sir.
Sir, okay.
Okay. Then we will go with that limitations. So here, see the limitations. So there are some limitations of statistics in our economics. So the subject is there, statistics, but each and every time we cannot use the statistics in our economics. So there are simple three limitations of statistics in our economics. There are other aspects also there, but I did not cover. So these are the major limitations of statistics in our economics. The first one, it does not deal with the individual items. Statistics does not deal with the individual items. For example, if you take into account, for example, if I state that a statement that if the price of the commodity increases, the demand is goes down or fall down. Sorry. So if the price of the commodity increases, the demand for the commodity will be down. If I give the statement with respect to myself, for example, I am thinking that if the price of the commodities increases, I cannot buy that particular commodity. That is my perception. That is my attitude. For example, so the statistics cannot deal with individual items. It is aggregate items. It deals with aggregate items or aggregate values. So the individual items. The second one. So I think you have understood that particular point. It does not deal with the individual items, because as per my opinion, so most of the people cannot think about like me. For example, some people will think that so if the price of the commodity increases, most of the people are to purchase. Best example, if you take that gold price. For example, the gold price of the gold is increases, most of the people are to purchase. Then there are except some exceptions. Okay, here. So as we discussed a lot about the ceteris paribus, it's nothing but so other things are remaining constant. When other things are not remaining constant, the theory may be applied to the different aspects. And second one, it deals with quantitative aspects but not qualitative aspects. See, so the statistics deals with quantitative aspects but not qualitative aspects. For example, when you are estimating the demand function or the demand theory, when you are studying, so generally we can say that what is meant by demand. Simply we say that so there is a inverse relationship between the price and demand, because as the price increases, demand falls down, or price decreases, demand goes up. So that we can say that. So at the same time, when other things are remaining constant, we can write when other things are remaining constant or ceteris paribus. Simple, ceteris paribus. So it means that the theory, there is some exception. The theory itself, it has some exceptions. It means that the taste and preference. For example, can we estimate the taste? We can't do it. For example, so for example, those who would like to eat burger, some other items. For example, they cannot bother about if the price will be increases. They cannot bother about it, but they can eat. For example, the taste is not good. Even the prices come down, they cannot offer at all. That is the one thing. So it depends on the taste also. The taste is nothing but it is a qualitative aspects, taste or a preference. It means that even for example, if a girl, for example, most of the girls will eat some gupchup, for example, they cannot bother about that price of the gupchup. Simple. If the price has been increases for the gupchup, they can eat. That is the thing. For example, if the taste is not good also, they maybe spend some amount of money on gupchup. For example, if some other girls, if the taste is not good, if the price of the commodity decreases, but they cannot afford also. So here in the statistics, so the statistics can deal with the quantitative aspects, not qualitative aspects. So in generally in our economics, we can collect some information of qualitative aspects also there, but which is not significant also. It is subjective matter. It is subjective matter. Then third limitation, numerical facts are true only on an average can be misused. For example, numerical facts are true only on an average can be misused. For example, sometimes we can express that on an average. For example, some people will ask that, so what is your opinion on a particular movie? So it is okay on average. Simple, they can say that. But it means on average nothing but 50%. Even though if I would like to grade that 30%, if I say that average, but the movie is average. So sometimes when your numerical facts are true only on averages, so that also can be misused sometimes. For example, if I say that if I watched a movie, if you ask this, so how is movie, sir? For example, if I say that on average it is okay. In that case, what do you think that? So Sarah is given 50%. Even though if I like only 30%. So if you take into consider 50%, that can be misused also. That can be misused. So numerical facts are true only on average can be misused. Sometimes we can misuse also there. So these are the limitations of statistics in our economics. I think is it enough for that at a degree level? If you want more clarification, I will give at the end of the session, or you can ask me in group WhatsApp group also, no problem. Is it clear now? What are the characteristics of the statistics in our economics, and uses and limitations of statistics in our economics? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we discuss another topic which is not discussed up to now? That is the frequency, I think. Shall I continue? How much time is there? So we have the last 10 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So simply we'll go with that frequency. So what is meant by frequency, and how we can calculate the frequencies. So generally, most of the students who have done that, how to calculate the frequency at 8th or 9th standard also there. In the 10th standard also you have been done, and some of the students who have done at intermediate level also, because these are some statistics. I think one unit has been added in the syllabus. Okay, we will discuss that one also. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next topic is the frequency. Frequency. So in generally in our economics, we can do the frequency distribution. For example, when it comes to the frequency distribution, when we gather some information only, we need to do frequency distribution. For example, last time we discussed about that sample and sampling methods or statistical methods also there. So that in the statistical methods, there is a collection of the data. Statistical methods law, we have the first one, the collection of the data. What is the primary data and secondary data? When we are gathering information, how do we represent? That is the presentation. So the third point, that is the presentation. So we have discussed about that presentation in the form of tables and graphs, right? So when it comes to the tables, so the first one, frequency distribution. So in statistics, a frequency distribution is a table that displays the frequency of various outcomes in a sample. Each entry in the table contains the frequency. Each entry in the table contains the frequency or count of occurrences of values within the particular group or interval. Or in this way, the table summarizes the distribution of values in the sample. For example, if you take into account the frequency distribution, anything, but for example, last time we discussed about how many students their favorite color is red or black or green, like that. For example, in the frequency distribution, simple we can show that summarize the group of data divided into the mutual exclusive classes and number of occurrence in the class. So for example, I would like to show that one table, frequency table. See, for example, if you take this is the class limit, you cannot bother about this miles. For example, if you take class marks only, In the internal marks, out of you may say that highest marks is 18. For example, even the 20 marks are there. For example, this is the marks 1 to 3. How many students has got 1 to 3 marks? Here, as per the table, 10 students I secured 1 to 3 marks. Nothing but, so 10 students have got 1 to 3 marks only. 1 to 3 marks. And marks 4 to 6. There are 14 students who have secured marks 4 to 6 and 7 to 9. So 7 to 9, the 10 students who have secured 7 to 9 marks. And 6 students secured 10 to 12 marks, 5 students secured 13 to 15 marks, and 5 students secured 16 to 18 marks. This is called frequency table. Frequency table. Or else sometimes we will discuss about that how many students are like red or black also. For example, if you take instead of this class limit, you may write also favorite color. For example, favorite color here red, green, or black, or pink, like that. So here nothing but those who like the red, there may be how many students are there. That we can show, or else I can show that easily in the. Is it visible? See, for example, this is it visible now? Hello, dear students.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
See, age group of the respondents which has conducted by. Say, for example, if I conducted a survey from 100 samples, this is 100 total sample. So as per the age, I have classified there is a frequency distribution. So age, the less than 20, how many members are there? 17. That's a percentage. 17%. Nothing but 117. If you take into a 17 or 17%, no problem. 17 members. So the age 20 to 40, 39 members. 40 to 60, age of the member. How many members are there? 33. So above age 60, there are 11 members. So for example, if you take education status of respondents, for example, it can be easily understood that, see, literate, illiterate, how many illiterate is there out of 100? 43 members are illiterate.
43.
So at primary level, 21 members have studied up to the primary level. Only 0.8%, nothing but 8% of the population have studied secondary level. Only 7% people have studied up to the higher school, higher level. Intermediate, they have studied 9 members. Above intermediate, there are 12 members. This is called frequency distribution. Frequency distribution. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, see.
Yes, sir.
So frequency distribution is a table. Once again, I am repeating. Frequency distribution is a table that displays the frequency of various outcomes in a sample. Various outcomes. So this is the outcome. This is the outcome. This is the our variable. Illiterate. How many illiterate are there? Only 43%. So that is our outcome. So this is Excel sheet. If you want, you can understand. So there are some types of frequency distribution. There is a relative frequency distribution and cumulative frequency distribution. So for example, frequency nothing but how many members are in particular criteria. For example, if you take into account, this is the best example. Sometimes we can write frequency also here instead of percentage, frequency. So here illiterate nothing but how many members are illiterate in collected sample size. So we have collected 100 sample. So out of 100, how many are there? 43. That is a frequency. Okay. For example, if you take into account, I can give another example also there. Yeah. See here. For example, this is a frequency. If I am say that frequency. So here cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency nothing but adding up simple frequency. Simple. cumulative frequency is nothing but, so before knowing that relative frequency or cumulative frequency, so first we need to understand cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency, that is called, we can indicate CF. CF nothing but cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is nothing but adding of simple frequency. Adding up simple frequency. So simple, this is a simple frequency. This column will be say that cumulative frequency. So cumulative frequency nothing but here how much come? 63 will come. So here in the second column, in the third second row, third column, so it will come 100. Simple here 63 plus 37. Here 63 plus 37 is called, is equal to 100. This is called cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency. Is it clear now, or shall I explain another example? For example, here if you take, so here CF, okay. So here CF is nothing but, first we can take 34. This is a simple frequency, nothing but here cumulative frequency. Simple, we can add the simple frequency. 34 plus 15, how much? 49.
49.
Then 49 plus 19, how much? 68, right?
68.
68 plus 18, how much? 86, right? 86 plus how much? 86 plus 14, how much? 100.
100.
So when you are calculating the CF, cumulative frequency, at the end, it should be equal to this total. It should be equal. This is 100 here, here 100 also. Both should be same. Okay. When you are calculating total frequency, cumulative frequency at the end value, that should be same when you calculating this sum of frequency. Sum of frequency nothing but total frequency here. Total frequency 100. So it should be match. Then only the cumulative frequency is correct. Okay. Is it clear now? Cumulative frequency?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next one, relative frequency. We have the 1 minute last. Relative frequency, the frequency distribution where each of the class frequencies divided by the total number of observations. See here, total number of 18. So it should be relative nothing but 8 by 80. There is a 10% or 0.10. 10% or 0.10. So 23 by 80. How much will come? 0.28. Nothing but 28%. We can say that in percent. Relative frequency nothing but only in the form of percentage only we can calculate that frequency. Like whatever I have done in this paper, see here percentage 34 by 100 nothing but 34%. 15 by 100 is nothing but 15%. Like this, this is a 0. So when you are doing when you convert this one in the percentage, you may get 0.10. Okay, is it clear now? Up to now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today we will close this. Session, and tomorrow, if time permits, I will take the class, because I did not take the class I think before yesterday. Okay, or else we will discuss cumulative frequency in the next class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.